This is Tim Matthews, and today I'm joined by Martha Carrick, who is a consumer behavior specialist. Welcome, Martha.
Thank you for having me, Tim. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, I introduced you as a consumer behavior specialist. Please explain to our listeners what it is that you do.
Sure, everyone is different, of course, but generally speaking, we can divide consumers into several categories depending on how they behave when shopping. I run a company that helps retail businesses to recognize these categories of consumers. Why? Because stores can provide better service if they recognize what kind of shopper a customer is. And better service leads to more satisfied customers and more profits.
Could you give some examples of the different categories of consumers?
There are many possible ways to divide shoppers. A couple of people I know in this industry, for example, say there are 8 or even 10 kinds of consumers. I prefer to keep things simple. Generally speaking, I'd say there are 4 common ways that consumers behave. The first type is a consumer who goes into a store just to look around. This person probably isn't shopping for a particular item. He or she is looking around and just hoping to find something good. Often, this shopper is looking for a product or service that will improve his or her life. We see a second kind of behavior with customers who have an item in mind, but they want that item to have a list of features or benefits. So, for example, a customer like this may be shopping for a phone. She might know what size screen or how much memory she wants, but she doesn't know which specific phone was the best one for them. See?
To be honest, both of those descriptions sound like me when I'm shopping. Well, at least some of the time.
That's an important observation, Tim. You see, in my experience, it's unusual for people to behave in the same way every time they shop. Most consumers change their shopping behavior depending on the situation. They might shop in one way for groceries, but in a different way for clothes or technology, for example.
Hmm, that makes sense. So, what are the other two kinds of consumer behavior?
The last 2 categories are opposites. On the one hand, there are customers who are product experts. They've already done their research and they know the exact product they want. Of course, a salesperson might be able to alter their thinking and get them to buy a different product if it's a real bargain. But in most cases, they'll purchase the item they already had in mind. And on the other hand, you have customers who don't really know anything. They walk into a store with a basic idea of what kind of purchase they want to make. A pair of shoes, for example, but with no clear idea of the features they need, the price they should pay, or even perhaps the kind of shoes they want. In other words, these shoppers need help.
Okay, so you have the people who just browse, the people who have a list of features in mind, the experts who know exactly what they want, and the inexperienced shoppers with little idea of what they want. Your categories seem realistic based on my experience, but to be honest, being able to recognize these categories doesn't sound very useful.
Well, let's say an expert shopper goes into a shoe store and tells an employee she wants a pair of ABC brand of running shoes in size 8 in neutral color. Now, what if the employee doesn't recognize her as an expert consumer who knows what she wants? What if the employee says something like, oh, ABC shoes are not great. Let me show you some shoes made by XYZ brand instead. It's possible the shopper will be happy, but it's more likely she will find the situation frustrating and go to a different store where they will listen to what she's actually asking for and give her what she wants.
Ah, okay, I get it now. If salespeople can recognize what kind of shoppers people are, they can interact with customers in a better, more specific way and provide an improved shopping experience, right?
Exactly. And if that happens, then both shoppers and stores benefit. It's a win-win situation.
Thank you, Martha. Okay, so Martha has kindly agreed to take your calls. So if you have a question about consumer behavior, call us on the usual number.